Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities such as new companies and potential business partners and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grid Live Pre-Race. I'm Cubby Lambert from the Podium Finish with Ms. Joe Samdiego and Adam Limerick. So shout out to our Patreon supporters, Colin, Mark, Deshelle, and Robin. Thank you so much for investing in Grid Network. Your support keeps us on the air, doing what we all love, talking about motorsports all over the world. For Formula E coverage, check out the Soul E Pre-Race 1 recap, co-hosted by Joe, Edward Hunter from Formula E Zone, and Joshua Birch. Formula E will be crowning a champion this weekend, and also happened this weekend. NASCAR's at Richmond Raceway for the Federated Auto Parts 400, and we have 15 different winners and 3 races left until the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Martin Truex Jr. is the early favorite to get up to 16 different winners after the checker flag falls after Richmond. Is this Martin Truex Jr.'s race to lose?
Absolutely, Kobe. And I'll let the viewers on some stats. Since February of 2019, Martin Truex Jr. has an average finish of 2.3 in 6 races, with 3 wins, 6 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and 6 top 20s, with 562 laps led, plus an average starting position of 6.2. If Martin Truex Jr. doesn't win tomorrow, I'll be shocked.
For me, Martin Truex Jr., he is good as a track, but overall, I think it's going to be somebody else taking the win. I just see that team, they always just seem to be a little bit behind their teammates, whereas Denny Hamlin, who's always towards the front, Kyle Busch, who has been towards the front until bad luck, and then this last race weekend we saw Bubba Wallace, he was out towards the front. When it comes to the Chevrolets, I think this is a good opportunity for Chase Elliott to try to rebound, get a win. Fords, I think they're going to be hit or miss. So I agree. Martin Truex Jr., he has a fair shot at getting this win. I just don't think it's going to happen just because it just seems some of the tracks like Sonoma, the other tracks where he's pretty good at, it just comes up a little bit short.
Yeah, it comes up short sometimes, but I feel like this is probably going to be Martin Truex Jr.'s best opportunity to win a race. But before the playoffs, as you mentioned, Adam, Martin Truex Jr. has had a lot of success at Richmond. This is one of his better tracks on the NASCAR schedule, and I have a feeling that's why everyone believes that he's the heavy favorite to win this race. A lot of people thought he was going to, be the one in the spring, but things didn't really turn out the way we all expected to go Martin Truex Jr.'s way. But this time around, he'll look to try to seal the deal and secure his spot in the playoffs, because I'm sure he's extremely nervous right now, especially with all these different winners, and MTJ is gonna have to try to get something done soon, or he may be on the outside looking in as we continue to pile up all of these different winners on a win. Would certainly be a huge boost for the number 19 team. He plans to be back next year in the number 19 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. Yesterday was announced that Bubba Wallace re-signed with 2311 Racing on a multi-year deal. Bubba's been on a hot streak lately of top 10 finishes and got second place last Sunday at Michigan. It might have been a different story if it had gotten around Joey Logano sooner, but last time out for 2311 at Richmond, they were painfully slow towards the back, and Denny Hamlin was shocked by their lack of speed. So Richmond earlier this year was one of the worst races of the year for 2311 Racing. That they were so down on speed, they were running with all of the back markers, and for a team like 2311 Racing with the equipment and people that they have, that was like a major embarrassment for that entire organization. So, Joe, in your opinion, will the second trip to Richmond be different for 2311? And could Ty Gibbs get another top 10 finish?
I think their trip this time for 2311 at Richmond is going to be a little bit more productive. They're not going to be as painfully slow as they were the last time. It was a huge shock to everybody when they came to Richmond and they were just with the back markers. However, qualifying is going to be very important. They got to be towards the front. That'll be indicating of what their speeds are. And of course, with this track being in the daytime, a hotter, slicker track, handling is going to be an issue. They need to have the better setup. And I think it's going to be really challenging to pass, similar to last time as well, too. To what extent will it be almost spread out throughout the field? We're not 100% sure, but I feel for 2311, they got to be a little bit better. I think they'll be a little bit better. We're not sure if they're going to exactly be in the top 10. Qualifying is the big indicator, but with Ty Gibbs in that 45 car, he's going to be, I think, in a good position to get another top 10. He's really just been phenomenal this year in what he's doing in the Xfinity Series, coming to the Cup Series unplanned, getting that top 10 finish. I think he has a lot of confidence, and to have confidence in this track, in the car, could be a really good thing. And especially if 2311 have a lot of notes, they'll be faster. I see Ty Gibbs towards the front and another top 10 finish.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Joe. I think Ty Gibbs certainly more than capable of getting another top 10 finish. If we think back to the spring race in the Xfinity Series here at Richmond, who won that race? It was Ty Gibbs. He roughed up John Hunter and Nemechek there on the last lap. Remember, John Hunter wasn't really happy about that, and since then, Ty Gibbs has really worked on improving his racecraft, his reputation on the track, because Ty Gibbs was rubbing a lot of people the wrong way because he raced them very, very aggressively. And since then, it seems like Ty's matured. He's calmed down a little bit, and he's racing his competitors more cleanly, and especially at the NASCAR Cup Series level. That's going to earn you a lot of respect. And I have a feeling when he finished in the top 10 last weekend at Michigan, not a lot of experience in his next gen car compared to all the others who've been running every single week. I think Ty Gibbs certainly earned a lot of respect, and I have a feeling he'll keep doing that this weekend at Richmond. And I think the second trip at Richmond for 2311 is going to be totally different. Back in the spring, they were going through a lot of growing pains with that team. All the troubles on pit road, trying to sort out the cars and all of that. So I believe since then we've seen this team really come together in recent weeks, especially with everything they've been doing with Bubba Wallace finishing in the top 5, finishing in the top 10, and I think they can keep building on that momentum, and they probably found something where Richmond can look totally different, and 2311 can run exactly where they should have been running in the sprint, which is towards the front instead of towards the back, just struggling to stay on pace. And speaking of 2311 racing, Toyota's looking to fire back after a missed opportunity last week when Ford won. Kevin Harvick snapped his long winless streak. Ford wants more wins. The executive said that before Michigan, and Harvick got him a win. Stewart Haas Racing wants to get back in victory lane on a more regular basis. Adam, what are Harvick's chances of winning 2 in a row?
To me, Kevin Harvick tomorrow winning 2 in a row, I don't see it. He hasn't had a lot. He hasn't had a lot of success here in Richmond. So, but that win last week in Michigan gave him a lot of momentum. A lot of people were happy to see Happy Harvick back in victory lane, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Harvick racks up a few more wins before the end of the season. So, to me, I don't see Kevin Harvick winning tomorrow on the short track at Richmond.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't be a surprise to see Kevin Harvick pick up another win or two before the season ends. But I agree with you, Adam. I don't see Harvick getting it done tomorrow at Richmond. I think a Toyota driver is going to win. I'm going to let the viewers keep guessing throughout the remainder of our program today about which Toyota driver that I'm going to choose.
And of course, with Toyota, they're going to be going for the win. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens as we continue to get closer and closer to Daytona for the race at Richmond. It's weird to say it's not on a Saturday night because we're so used to this race in particular being Saturday night. So it's going to be Sunday, not under the lights, under the sun, so it's going to be hot, slick, really going to be challenging for the drivers. The last time we were here, though, we saw very few cautions. A lot of people didn't feel Richmond lived up to the traditional standard of racing. Folks were talking about the new car, the package, the aerodynamics, a lot of factors. NASCAR, of course, they're going to probably want a better show. Kobe, will we see the same again? Or do we anticipate a better show, a better race for the fans?
Honestly, Joe, I think it's really hard to say, but I have a feeling it might be much of the same. Where track position is going to be super key because not originally NASCAR was supposed to make some changes to the short track package, but unfortunately that hasn't happened yet. I'm not really sure what the timeline is for that right now with NASCAR making changes to the next gen cars on the short tracks. Maybe we'll see it later in the season for the playoff race at Martinsville and then Phoenix at the end of the year. But as of right now, they're gonna be running that same setup that they've been running this season. The same setup that's seen the short track races not really be super exciting, and in a way, NASCAR's been kind of backwards this year because the mile and a half tracks, the 2 mile tracks, we typically expect all of those races to be I guess these snooze fests, but it's been opposite because those races have actually been the more exciting ones. And then you come to the short track, you expect the short tracks to be the most exciting one. Those are the ones actually been the more boring events. So unfortunately, with the hotter temperatures, the dirty air, with the way these new Cup cars run on the short tracks in the current configuration, I have a feeling it's going to be a track position race, and it's going to become extremely difficult to pass the longer we get during the green flag run.
And with track position, that just puts in more emphasis on having the good setup, finding that out in the practice session, and then qualifying, just laying down a really fast lap. You got to be up front at Richmond this year. Towards the end of last year's race, up in the front, William Byron. He started fading. He went from the lead to out of contention. Still finished third place in that race, though. Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, they got around him. Hamlin took the win. Kevin Harvick battled him towards the end. Of course, now both of them have wins. However, for William Byron, since then, he has not had a finish in the top 10 since Sonoma, which is his only top 10 finish since he won at Martinsville. Really just impressive thinking about we see him towards the front, but to think he only has that one Sonoma top 10 finish since the win in Martinsville. Quite a long time. Adam, with 2 wins already under his belt this year and a close third place the last time here at Richmond, do you see Byron having a chance of turning his season around?
I do, Joe. Um, you mentioned you mentioned he hasn't finished outside the top 10 since Sonoma, and so I can see William Byron season turning around tomorrow in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Hendrick Motorsports has always been good here at Richmond, so I anticipate William Byron to have a good race tomorrow, and I think he'll finish in the top 10.
Top 10 finish will be a welcome sight for William Byron. What better place than to come to a track where he almost won it? Just a little bit better strategy. Probably could have taken that win, and then it would be a much different scenario if he had won and had 3 wins by now. Right now, of course, he's still stuck at 2. Last race weekend, Hendrick Motorsports in general, they just did not seem to be the caliber we anticipated them. Chase Elliott, not in winning contention, not in the top 5. Kyle Larson, still hard to believe, only 1 win this year. After last year where he got 10 wins, a lot of people thought he was going to be really strong. Still only 1 year. Bowman, he has 1 year, and there's already some speculation about his future with 48 races as we see the rumors with Kyle Busch continue to escalate longer without an official announcement. Kobe, considering Hendrick Motorsports' quick start in the early part of 2022 to where they are now, did Hendrick Motorsports peak too early?
To be honest, Joe, I don't think they necessarily peaked too early. I think it just goes to show the great parity right now. We're sitting in the NASCAR Cup Series, and Chase Elliott has only had a couple of off races, in the last several weeks. So I don't necessarily think that that he possibly peaked early. I still think Chase Elliott is going to be one of the championship favorites. I think the biggest surprise this season, seeing the drop off from Kyle Larson compared to his dominant championship season last year to this year. It seems like Larson and that 5 team's been having quite a championship hangover from 2021. I still think Hendrick Motorsports can certainly be contenders for these last 3 races heading into the playoffs, and certainly the playoffs as well. Like I said, Elliott's probably going to be one of the favorites for the championship. It's still not too late for Kyle Larson to get on a hot streak and start clicking off wins like he did last year. But so far, we haven't really seen that from the 510. And as you mentioned, William Byron hasn't showed the same form either. And then Alex Bowman, some inconsistent finishes. So across the board, I don't think this is necessarily a Hendrick Motorsports problem. I really believe that it has a lot to do with the parity where we're seeing. It's just been amazing to see how competitive the NASCAR Cup Series is, and it's amazing, just 3 races to go until the playoffs. We've already had 15 different winners this year, and we could potentially get a 16 this weekend at Richmond, the following week at Watkins Glen or Daytona. We could, yeah, it's just really crazy that somebody who's already won a race might end up outside and missing the playoffs. And right now, it seems like if we get more than 16 different winners, Kurt Busch might be the one in trouble. Since unfortunately he's still not well enough to get back in the race car since recovering from that concussion he suffered in that crash at Pocono during qualifying.
Yeah, I agree with you when it comes to Hendrick Motorsports. And it's a really interesting point that you bring up. This race, the short track, then we have Watkins Glen, the road course, and then, of course, Daytona International Speedway, the super speedway. Really, if you're a driver, especially outside Hendrick Motorsports, you have to feel like Richmond is one of the better opportunities. If you have a good, solid setup, like if you're Eric Jones, once you get to the road course, you got some select favorites like Chase Elliott, who's going to go out there try to get the win. And then Daytona, yes, everyone could get a win there, but it's almost a random survival race. You know it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be a matter of putting yourself in the right place at the right time, so you don't have that much control. And of course, it's all leading up to the NASCAR playoffs, which is just after this race weekend. Those three, and then the playoffs, and they'll start at Darlington Southern 500 to kick off the playoffs.
And now it's time for everybody's favorite game here at Grid Network, Pick a Winner. And we have a very light schedule this weekend. So use the hashtag Pick a Winner on social media, and you could see your picks on our leaderboard. That being said, it's time that we make our picks. First up, the NASCAR Cup Series is in the Commonwealth of Virginia for the Federated Auto Parts 400. So, Kobe, you mentioned Toyota would be your pick for big winner. So, which Toyota gets it done tomorrow in Virginia?
I think all of the viewers are going to be extremely shocked with the driver I'm going to win this race. I don't, considering what we saw in the spring, unfortunately, I'm not sure if the race is going to, be a memorable one, but from the on-track product. But I think it'll be a memorable one by the race winner. I know he's a young gun, been getting it done in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I think we're going to see a shocker, and Ty Gibbs is going to win his first career NASCAR Cup Series race. I may end up looking really silly, but also I may end up looking really smart. I think Ty Gibbs has the raw talent to potentially get that done. Then I'll be honest, I'll be surprised if Ty Gibbs go out there and win, but why not? Just give it a shot, play the lottery.
Honestly, there's a side of me that really does consider Ty Gibbs after that top 10 finish. I know a couple of folks picked him from Michigan. He's been very impressive. I'm going to go with the owner of 2311. I'm going with Denny Hamlin. He got the win here last time. That was a big shock to everyone considering where that team was. Now that team, they look like they have the speed. Just a matter of executing the pit stops perfectly, not speeding, not having penalties, and staying up front. Denny Hamlin is my pick for Richmond.
And I think we see another different driver ending up in victory lane. I'm going with, obviously, Martin Truex Jr., the driver of the number 19 Toyota at Joe Gibbs Racing. He's had a lot of success here with 3 wins since February of 2019. He doesn't have a win yet, so I'm going with MTJ to win at Richmond. And now Formula E is in the beautiful city of Seoul, South Korea. So Joe, Josh, and Ed wrapped up race 1 early this morning. So Kobe, who wins race 2 in Seoul, and who do you think captures the ABB Formula E World Championship?
Well, I think race 2 is going to go to a driver who absolutely dominated race 1, basically from the flag. I think Mitch Evans from Jaguar is going to get the job done, sweep the weekend, but I don't think it's going to be enough to the throne. Stoffel Van Dorn for winning the championship. I know Mitch Evans, in the races that he's won, he's gone out and absolutely dominated, but he hasn't been able to maintain the same level of season-long consistency as Stoffel Van Dorn. I think that consistency is certainly going to help Mercedes win another Formula E World Championship on the way out, as McLaren's going to replace them next season.
I think we're all going to make it pretty much near unanimous. The only person that has said a little different was Ed Hunter in our Formula E show, but I'm sticking with Mitch Evans to get another sweep. That'll be 2 this year with Rome. But Stoffel Van Dorn, the consistency, 1 win, gets the championship. Those are my picks for Formula E still.
Well, I'm going against both of you, and I'm going to say Stoffel Van Dorn wins race 2. And obviously, I'm going to say Stoffel Van Dorn wins the ABB Formula E World Championship. And so be sure to subscribe to our colleague Joshua Birch's YouTube channel, as he and Ed Hunter will provide coverage of the season finale of Formula E for the Seoul E-Prix early in the morning. So get your coffee, get your snacks, and join Josh and Ed as they wrap up another season of Formula E.
We wrap up the season of Formula E, and of course, link in the video description to the preview of race 2 and our recap of race 1. And we encourage everyone to be sure to subscribe, like, and comment on all our programs here on the Grid Network. Helps us with the algorithm. Share us with your friends, families that love motorsports. And along with YouTube, we're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, where we live stream, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, where we're posting up opportunities to be part of the Grid Network. And we encourage everyone to take 5 minutes to join our Patreon. Just like calling the show Mark and Robin, they invest in the Grid Network each and every month. Their contribution helps pay the bills. And of course, the link in the video description is also to Buy Me a Coffee. Buy Me a Coffee, a one-time contribution. You set the amount, you set the message. If it's buying a drink for somebody from the Grid Network on the air, more than welcome to do that. That is what Ed, Amber, and Zachary have all done. We thank them for their support of the Grid Network, and we encourage everyone to visit public.com to invest in the stock market. Don't just use any stock market investing app. Public.com, you use the referral code GRIDnet, you get free stocks to invest in the stock market, and public.com allows you to connect with friends. You can make new friends and use tools to learn how to invest in the stock market. Public.com, and be sure to check out Formula E wrap-up show after Sunday's race 2 in Seoul, South Korea. Then we'll do our NASCAR Grid Life wrap-up show tomorrow, approximately 90 minutes or sooner after the race, depending on how the race and the schedule goes. And it's going to be a lot of fun right here on the Grid. Be sure to comment with all your questions, opinions, like, and subscribe to us right here on YouTube. For Adam Lemeries and Kobe Lambis from the Podium Finish, I'm Joe Sanriego. Thank you for watching today's program. We'll see you next time, and enjoy the races.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners. and useful tools for beginners and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com.